Well, hello YouTubers and welcome back to Rudgy aka the Doctor. You wonderful 540 people we have now subscribed to the channel. Thank you for subscribing. For those of you who visited my coffee page and my coffee and PayPal page, in particular the PayPal, thank you so much. That means a lot to me that you would do that for me, and I look forward to continuing support on that page because it will keep the videos rolling in, because I now need to buy new cameras and the laptop's playing up with me and Jenny spent a good afternoon trying to sort out a new laptop which apparently won't download the pictures now, so I don't know what I'm going to do. I'm probably going to end up with the Steam driven one for the next few months till I can afford to buy a new one. But anyway, I digress. Moan, whinge, whinge. As some of you know, the boat was lifted a couple of weeks ago now and put in the Dartside Quays yard right at the back because it will be here till November unless it gets sold, because it is on the market. So I said to Andy that it looked a bit sad and a bit scruffy, which boats do when they've been in the water for a good while. And of course we couldn't get it out because of COVID, so it was in a bit longer than it should have been. So Andy very kindly offered to help me antifoul the bottom, which is not a nice job. I do it for a living, so I can tell you it's not a nice job. Anyway, the video's about that. Andy came and helped me, bless him, and we got it antifouled. The broker's been Lucas Yachts, a broker in it for me. Although I may well put it with a couple of other people as well. Network was mentioned this afternoon, Network Yacht Brokers. I may stick it with them. Paul Singer is a friend of mine and Andy's. He knows about the boat. He also has a brokerage, and she's advertised on my YouTube channel, as you know. And you can contact me here if you're watching this and are interested in her. I am open to offers at the moment because when I come back in November, I'm planning to do the bulk of the service work then before she goes back in. I need to put a steering cable on her. She'll need both engines servicing, which I have the oil for. I've just got to get filters, and then the engines can be serviced. The gearbox has already been done. The anodes should be on before I go back. We've got those now. But there's quite a few bits and pieces would need doing, and of course I'm open to an offer then. If somebody wants to do that instead of me, saves me doing it. Anyway, let's have a look at what we've done this week. There will be some Kefalonia videos coming up sooner than you think. I'm looking at booking a flight for the 10th of March, and then you'll get to see where I'm going to be living. Exciting times. If you visit the coffee page and visit my PayPal on there, then you get access to content that isn't on here, and there is something about a property I'm looking at there. So there you go. Bit secretive, I know. So let's get on with the video. Well, hello YouTubers and welcome back. So this is where for now me and Sovereign Bay are hauled up, and where I'm staying until I go back. As you can see, there's the work bus. Had a few problems with that this week. I've had to do a few modifications to it. The rear suspension, which was never really intended to carry the weight, to be fair, the bump stops that I'd made collapsed. They went through the floor because of the weight. So I had to modify those and strengthen them up. Funnily enough, this side has always sat lower than the other side, and I thought it may be the springs, so I've put some heavy duty springs on there now, lowered of course, and it still sits slightly lower that side. It's next IA van, so I'm wondering whether there's something to do with that. I mean, it used to run airbags as well, apparently. Anyway, I digress. Should we go and have a look at Sovereign Bay and see how she's getting on? Let's do that. So there she is, right at the back of the yard. They put her there because she's going to be there. If she doesn't sell, she'll be there till November, December. I might even leave her out for good until I sell her. As you can see, the hull's not as bad as I thought it would be. There was some signs of osmosis, but on the whole, you see the cream areas, that's the original gel coat. So I'm thinking, me and Andy were thinking maybe the primer had got water behind it and bubbled up, and then when they've washed it, it's come off. So we're just going to do a bit of an etch job on that reprimer, and I'm going to give it one coat of antifoul just to smarten it up for people viewing it, because it will wash it off with the weather and that. So I'll do it properly when I come back if she goes back in. There's a few areas like this. It's not a major problem. We need to put a bit of gel coat on that. And there, I think the moorings have probably done that. I'll give the hull a good scrub down, a bit of a waxing. It could do with a proper machine polish really, but I don't have the funds for that. The shafts still perfect, P-clamps still good. Props probably a little bit worse than they were when I brought her. It was reported on the survey, but they're not too bad. In fact, we're looking into maybe getting them while I'm away, getting them taken in, and there's a company that will refurb them. Here's an interesting thing. This had been repaired at some point, and they put the exhaust outlet here. That's going to have to come off. As you can see, it's tiny. So one, it was restricting flow, and two, it wasn't shutting off properly. These are there to swing about and stop the water flowing back up the exhaust, but to let the exhaust out. Well, that little thing in there wasn't doing anything, so I couldn't get one that big, but I could get one that diameter. So what I've done is, this is an old chimney, I think, off a wood burner. So I've cut it down so it fits, and cut the end down so that fits. Engineer your way out of a problem. Now it matches the other side. I don't know whether you can see that over there. So yeah, that's where Sovereign Bay is hauled up. What are you doing, Andy?
Mucking about. Scraping for a living. Yeah.
So there you go. We're working on Sovereign Bay. Good old Andy's come over to help me scrape the barnacles off my bottom. Don't want barnacles on your bottom, do you, Andy?
Oh no.
Yeah, you can get a cream for it apparently. Anyway, interesting point. This boat was surveyed by a friend of mine, and we thought it had got osmosis. So it went down on the report, which isn't a major problem. It went down on the report to monitor it. Well, I don't know whether you can see that. That's the gel coat. Bit discoloured, but that's the top sides there. So yeah, that's gel coat. So what had happened, we reckon, somebody had badly etched it, and the water had got behind the paint and the primers, and it was, you can see, you can flick the antifoul and stuff off. So Andy's been along scraping, bless him. He's done all this side while I've been letting Roberto out the place, because you have to use a swipe card. And I'm now going to go along and etch that. I don't know whether we'll need to primer some of it or not. Antifoul. We found some more in the skip, which we're going to mix together. And the job should be a good one. I best crack on, because Andy's halfway through. He's embarrassing me now. So you'd have a mate with the boat. I mean, but that side's prepped, ready for a bit of primer, and then we can blast the antifoul on. And in other news, the anodes have arrived. If I put my hand there for reference, I think they might be a bit big, but we're going to have a look and see if we can get them on, because I suppose the bigger the better. But those go in under here. They go just there, and my reckoning is, actually they might go on. Yeah, they might go on. So we'll see. I'm now going to make a cup of coffee and a cup of tea for me and Andy, and then we're going to crack on. Right, the progress is, I've sanded the underneath, and Andy has primed up the areas where they haven't etched it properly, which has caused all these bubbles and bits. There is some osmosis, but Nothing too bad. Yeah, I'll probably try and go over it with some light blue if I keep the boat, but this is just so that when people walk up, the first impressions aren't, ooh, because they always look horrible when they've just been washed and come out the water. So she's starting to look a bit tidier, I think you'll agree. So we'll bang a couple of coats of that red antifoul on, and then I'll probably do what I did the last time and go over with one, maybe 2 coats of blue, and then she's good to go. And with those anodes down there, she ain't gonna have to come out for quite a while. So I best crack on. Andy's gone to the shop. I'd like to get a fair bit done before he comes back, because poor old Andy, bless him, is working his socks off for me, and he's got better things to do with his time, I reckon. So I'm gonna crack. Well, that was another hard day at the office, and Andy, my mate Andy from A&J Thomas Boat Builders, is a total star. He's been here all afternoon helping me sort my life out. Anyway, just look at that. I know it's getting dark and you can hardly see what we've done, but all the antifouling, well, the first couple of coats anyway, is on. There you go. Don't she look pretty? So now I can hear you shouting at the screen. You shouldn't antifoul a boat if you're going to leave it out all summer. You should do it before it goes in. Correct, you should, because it's self-eroding, which means that it's designed to come off as the boat goes through the water, and then that means that things can't stick to it. However, the boat's on the market and I want to sell it, and you only get one chance at a first impression, and they'll be walking down here and they'll see that now, whereas before they saw, well, a tatty old 40-year-old boat. Now she looks like a very clean, well looked after 40-year-old boat, which is exactly what she is, really. I know she was in the water way too long, but that was because of COVID, really, and the fact that I couldn't get her lifted anywhere locally. And then, of course, you get into the realms of, well, do I lift her for safety purposes down somewhere else? Is it worth me taking a chance and taking it? I'm glad I didn't. Now I've seen a few of the things. Anyway, next step now will be to fit the anodes, and I'm going to put some antifouling and get special antifoul for the props. I'm going to do them this time. So we're going to do the antifoul on the props, the anodes on the underneath. They go under where the shafts are, as I've just shown you. There's anodes to go on the trim tabs. I've got 2 of those now to go on here. That's your trim tabs, and that's about it underneath, really. Oh, I've got to repair that. I've got to put the cutlass bearing came out when I was doing the gearboxes. I moved the shafts back out and the cutlass bearings moved, so we'll do that. That's not a problem. Then it's a case of servicing the engines, fuel filters, oil and filters, and checking it out like that. And then that's it, really. I'm off to Greece and this is up for sale. Grab yourselves a bargain. Well, I've done the boot top line today, which is this line here, because it was a bit faded, looking a bit scruffy, so I thought I'd do that. The broker's been and was quite impressed with what we'd done. I've fitted the exhaust on there. Just got to buy a new flap for the other side for the other one, and then drop the dinghy off and give that a good clean, and antifoul the props. But that's really all we got to do now, and I've started emptying my stuff off into the van. So yeah, Getting there slowly. Of course, one of the problems with living in the boatyard is you don't see the sunsets. That's all I'm going to get. Oh dear, oh well. Never mind, eh? I'm going in, it's getting... Yes, why not? Do I need milk? Oh, I might have to go out in a minute and... Oh! Oh, you've finished watching that, have you? Well, why did I do it from the galley, you're asking yourself? The intro to the video, that is. Nothing else, of course, because I've been single for so long now that, well, nothing like that ever goes on. Anyway, well, it occurred to me, I'm a bit sort of dubious about selling the boat, let's say. I think it's the right thing to do, but I will miss it. I'll miss it terribly. And people have said, why don't you sail it round? Which is what I wanted to do originally. Well, one, that would be very, very expensive. And two, quite complicated. And three, there's a luxury tax increase. So it would cost me €2,500 just to own this boat. That's sort of put me off a little bit. But why am I doing it from the galley? Well, we did a lot of stuff in here over lockdown, if you remember. Those of you who watched me from the beginning, when the site was in its infancy, I used to stick the camera up there, and I'd fry a few dishes up, and I'd cook a few things in the old oven and stuff like that. So I just thought it'd be nice to do that again. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed that video. I know some of you who prefer the Kefalonia ones probably fell asleep halfway through. Wayne Toombs will have loved it, I can guarantee that. Hello, Wayne. And yet again, I will say again, thank you so much for visiting the coffee page. I was a bit embarrassed about having to do that, but I think it's probably the way to go for the site. It's going to support the site, hopefully, at some point. There will be some merchandise for sale on there. So that was Sovereign Bay. I'll now go through all my footage and try and find you a few clips that I did last year of Kefalonia and maybe some outtakes. Thanks ever so much for watching. Thanks ever so much for your support. And those of you who visit Kefalonia, I hope to see you all very soon. Catch you guys later. See you next week. Well, that's that done. Let's put my tea on then. I haven't really got to do much with this. Just bang it in the oven, I think it says there. So yeah, let's do that. I'll go get my chef's hat. So yes, guys, we're on our way to Asos, as you can see. It's May the 14th is my birthday, so we borrowed the donkey. My Pat's come out to see me, my adopted sister, and I've been taken around this wonderful island of ours. Incidentally, interesting point, those of you who've heard of the world famous singer Lindsay Collard, she famously sat and relaxed on that wall there, having a final cigarette before we headed off back home. We'd been down there and had a spot of lunch, and it was getting quite cold, so she decides to pull up and put some warmer attire on and have a cigarette. And yeah, her mother would be pretty horrified. I think it was there she was sat, actually, which makes it even worse when you think about it. But there you go. No harm was done, and she enjoyed her cigarette, and then off we went round the mountain that way. Anyway, me and the bucket are now going to go down. I'll try not to fall off while I'm doing this. We're going to go down the road there, around the switchbacks down there to Asos. So here's one little curve in the road, and as you can see, it's terrifying. Yeah, Pat's holding onto the dashboard and everything. Watch the goats. No, but seriously, here is one of the switchbacks. But as you can see, It's nothing, it's no drama. I'm just going to turn the wheel. I haven't even changed gear, and there we go, into the crash barrier. And down the hill we go. There we go. I've just slowed up a little bit. Right, so here we are, driving down towards the village. It's going to be a whistle stop tour because it's just been pointed out to me that it's 5 o'clock. We've got to be back for our tea. I mean, we could be, on my birthday, we could have something to eat here, but I think I'll go back and see what's going on, and then we might go out and see Leanna. I don't know, I'll have to see. So, if you were to go straight on here, you can then access the castle, which apparently, as I've said on other videos, is a very nice walk apparently. I don't walk very well since my accident, so I haven't done it yet. Maybe one day. And that over there is where all the yachts come in, and I've seen them stern to the rocks.